It's large, and a consumer site has 5 fields, one constant. The biggest person compared to 30,000 is nothing.
You know how we can change this presentation?
This is the next slide. This is this, for example, here. It has the other dimension.
It's a question of
but how can we change it?
We must analyze the different objects.
The problem this is
to establish these settlements would be the points of trade route, or for simple especially metal objects or obsidian or very good steel. Future
the person is excavating, they must know what pretty much is. Because if you don't know what it is, you won't find it. I have made this experience with hardware, just to never see pretty much. They only will burn clay because I thought it's just those small fragments might be somewhere in the small fragments which after excavation will keep this on the line just to the right? That's the problem.
It's very different from the lens, so it's not a question of resolution.
Yeah,
It's the lens.
Now it's okay or not?
No, it's not.
for a couple of these settlements, but occasionally is what I don't know, maybe that one that is
Aspect ratio.
Yeah, that's one. That's it. The presentation mode is on. So,
Perhaps
we never put it back right again. It's broken.
No problem is we have so many salts and salt in this area that we will necessarily find
I don't know if that's
great. If I need to there is a small in the outer, then this is a sign for which it's not if it's not there, it's not easy. Because there's it depends on the salt content of the land. If the salt is there have to be experiments on Danish about the use of certain pollutants. There's a process of fish, salt, rain, and so they make pottery, they use some things to do they find out sometimes you don't find anything because the soil is so if you find something, you find the last use. If you have 3-4 different you make anything reuse but problems analysis is always what they may show something that's good. In China, they did the same analysis of the gradient. They are fortunate because they have trace elements in their soil which are very cheap. No, so they can exclude soil fluids. They can say, okay, this is definitely influence from having soil inside the vessel. The same way that more from inside the vessel. But it depends know the local rights. I don't know if they have trace minutes. In China they have, so they could do this. It's all flat. It's expensive. Thank you. Thank you. It works. Finally. Did I find this is the vibe of this, that they use some kind of illustrated layer. Yeah. Salt and the walls, the interior walls of the illustrate. Or fat or big leaves.
You pick these leaves deliberately, or you just wanted to use
Big leaves.
Yeah, you just
Soil
wanted, yeah.
corner.
It wasn't something that you noticed from environmental or local sound.
No, but I think it's important to use time and space.
Talk about too much.
Seen it somewhere. No, there's a good reason for that. I'll tell you why tomorrow. These guys are only interested in prehistory anyway. Gets us forward to get them all starts. Always like these guys. Where they find student volunteers. Well, we decided with salt. Sorry? Yes. Well, I mean, there are related problems like fuel, and also obviously it's on well, I should think on this. So yeah, so we decided to sort of project, but let's start from what we do. We decided to start with medieval. So we started and then our project so it was like some other countries, particularly many Europeans, the whole industry is very functional. It just went up, disappeared, knocked down, nothing is left. Ireland's the same problems because we've had a lot of warfare. So even if I don't know if you've ever been, if you go today, we have very few medieval buildings. Partly because of warfare. Castle, yes, we've got some churches. Yes, we do have medieval buildings, but they're trying to be the easiest ones because no one decided to burn those down. It's in bad favour. Castles are still there. We're talking about houses and some of the more industrial centres as well. So the vast majority of the population very organic.
It's running.
So
It's running.
Yes.
it strikes me that
Come here.
We do the cooking.
Oh, this is work. I don't want to touch it.
Sea salt. It's not favorable at all for solar evaporation, of course, but what we see water is frankly huge amounts. In a country which has fewer coolers of it, and also massive deforestation after the British decided to take it over shipping ships in the barrels. So they took Irish forests. We didn't have it's called an extractive economy. Not managed. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's why it's quite nice to be in Romania and see some of the Europeans things. Yes. Did I? Oh, I did not. Queens.
So
isn't that different from the South Irish? Archaeology is inclined to be like the rugby team. All it's one of the few things. It's one of the few things that we do together, and there's not many tensions within the archaeological community. It's usually other people who try to bring them impress it with that archaeology. It's Northern Ireland is only 80 years old, so it's nothing.
no.
The British expedient to be a nasty little.
So I remember when I was going to there was the fire rush for metal objects and so on. So now it's the usual way, traveling.
Yes, well, what year was that? We just
Obviously,
we played in Dublin.
Aici aveți măcușiesc?
Yeah, it might have been that these took off, you know. And then they had to take off the check. I wouldn't have been I wouldn't expect it.
Nu e perfect și nici o
at that time, and they have these walls and
That's oh no, by no means is it by no means is it yes. Still live. Nowadays, media reports, which is better. If we catch it. That's the worst thing. Hold on, it's just all
everything has been said.
it's not anywhere.
Yeah.
Still that forest.
Yeah, the first one. You're standing. I was confused. Ah, you want to be very close to me.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's always
As close as possible.
okay? You're trying to fill the gap between Germany and Romania.
Yeah,
Yes. So that's why you're so interested.
yes.
Nuances.
No.
It will be very close. We'll do Anschluss in Hungary and you will do Anschluss in Austria.
My people would not accept.
Oh.
Behind you.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What's the language? English one.
He asked you,
Yeah.
your presentation is in English?
I try to.
Yes.
Some sort of English.
I'm sorry. German kind of English.
German kind of.
That's kind of English. But if there are any problems, we have now our
English. German English.
German, and we can improve it.
Oh my God.
Irish English is not the best type of English.
Everything
Ah.
else. Anyway,
A friend
closer
of-
to English.
A friend of mine, she studied
I'm sorry.
Belfast.
I'm sorry.
She was German and she studied in Belfast. She picked up not only vocabulary but the colloquialisms, the accent, everything. And she went back to England in Germany and the English professor asked her whether she had a speech because her English sounded so strange. Because it sounded Irish and we put things the other way around. So hard for
Okay,
Irish.
it was quite good, because otherwise, professor didn't know me before.
That's right. English with that character. English with character.
With character, yeah. Okay, so I will try and sort. So it will be in English.
Okay, but maybe pictures will be understanding everything. What maybe photography pictures will be understanding everything.
Ah, you will understand that.
Yeah, that is better.
Speaking German, I'm going to try. I can start.
Yes, start it.
Chairs. They're in the pub.
Don't you poster?
Oh, they're in the bar.
Balkans, that means 10 minutes.
This guy is German, you know.
You right.
Or maybe it's academic water.
Maybe say academic roles later. It's creatively comfortable. There's some coming up from maybe start. Maybe let's start. Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Wes Prasad and I'll be acting with the whip in this session. Or rather, I'm waiting for my co-chair at the whip at the time. I just the ice that juiced I think he said. So our first talk at the state part of the afternoon is Machi Jibek on sale. It's the raw sauna and salt setting of hydrometer survey along the lower course of Hyrule River. Sorry.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm going to talk about the missing link with regard to salt production between Moldavia and the Krakow Wieliczka area. So in our presentation, we will deal with the brine springs of Futura Solna and some archaeological sites in their immediate vicinity. Well, the brine springs, you can see one of them here, they were used for the last time in the years that followed the incorporation of this area into the former Soviet Union. And in this economic tricycle that went along with this situation, namely the interruption of the supply network with the regional center of summer. So in this situation, the people of the Jarafka Valley were forced to rely on their local resources, and that's why they use these salt wells again. And while in Shimoshopa, one of these small villages in the area, there was only one salt well, and so the access to this brine spring was strictly limited to the people of this small village. And the neighboring Tirabazona, people from villages some 10 kilometers away, had free access to the salt springs of this parish. Salt was extracted from the red-colored brine in a rather primitive way, and then it was exchanged for nourishment with neighboring villages, so in the early 1940s. And because white salt was estimated as more valuable, milk was added to the red brine to bleach red brine, and in the end they brined with white salt. Now the question occurs when in the southeast of Poland salt was produced for the first time. We were talking about the 1940s. And when we wanted to deal with this topic in the last 2 years, we came across a map which the Jesuit archaeologist Kunish produced in the 1960s. And he published a map with quite a number of sites related to salt in the southeast of Poland. The triangles, I hope you can see them. The triangles mark brine springs which are active today, and there's also this red line under the Tirabazona site. The black dots are represented place names derived from salt, and the lozenges, there are only very few. As far as I remember, these are trading posts or storage places of salt mentioned in the written sources of the early of the medieval period and the post-medieval period. So quite a lot of salt activities are documented already in the 1960s. And a few years later, Jaworski from Wilska published a revised and supplemented map of this region. And again, you can see that the brine springs are the most widespread signature. These are the black dots, and the red one is Tirabazona, so the area we want to talk about. And then there are some triangles, so brine spring known from historical or written sources, and rectangles, place names connected to the term salt itself. And then again some lozenges, but at this time they are places of salt wells from a geological point of view. So in general, the salt wells are dominating the picture. I think that's the important thing here in this approach. Now, if we look at this area from a Mediterranean perspective with its proto-industrial salt production, then of course we are dealing with a rather remote area. That's the red dot. And so, also with regard to the scale of the salt production in the Jarafka Valley, you cannot expect an exploitation of the resources more than on a local, or let's say regional level. And that is also true for the Iron Age, one of the heydays of this prehistoric salt production in Central Europe. The area in the northern forelands of the Carpathian was a rather marginal zone in this European salt network. As you can see, the red dot is the area we are going to deal with. So we can only also guess at the quality of the salt produced. The prehistoric salt was probably more similar to that of the salt produced at present day for industry or feeding to livestock than to modern day cooking salt. If we zoom in a bit in this area, then we want to deal with the question when salt was produced first in this area. And we came across the distribution of the LBK settlement site. So we are dealing with the second half of the 6th millennium BC. And unfortunately, you cannot see the gray loess zone, but you have to believe me that this gray loess zone is stretching from west to east, where the main concentration of these red dots is. These two areas with the red circles are outside these less concentrations, and we asked ourselves, why did these LBK people settle in these remote areas on the Sun River and close to Fretopol Komanica? So we're going first to deal with this site of Fretopol Komanica, an LBK settlement, the red triangle, close to salt wells, represented by the trapezoidal symbols. So that's the LBK settlement site we're going to talk about. There are more here. There's another one, and this is a salt well, another one. And these hatched areas are zones where salt wells could have appeared in prehistoric times, yeah, from a geological point of view. So it's of course not in any case clear which salt well existed at what time, and that's what one has to bear in mind. But anyway, these both structures are closely connected. Then later sites mentioned on this map as well. The site was excavated actually in the 1960s by a local archaeologist, but never dealt with in more detail. So we started to look at it a bit closer, and you see in the grey now the extent of the LBK settlement in the excavated area, which were for the 1960s actually a rather large area. And although the brine springs are spatially closely related. If you look a bit closer at these excavated areas, which unfortunately nobody dealt with until recently, then you can see, just by looking at the general plan, that there are at least 17 to 20 LBK longhouses. And of course, one can ask the question, why such a huge settlement was constructed in this area. And it's not uncommon that huge LBK settlements are closely spatially related to salt wells also in Central Europe. Although, of course, this is not a proof that salt has been produced in these sites, yeah? But it might have been used. Yeah, the lower course of the Tiravka river, and on the northwest you can see the River San, which more or less a communication line across the Ushok Pass to the central Hungarian area, across the Caucasus. So in this area there are actually two early, there are only two early Neolithic sites that produced LBK pottery. You can see this here in green, and the red stars are the salt wells present today. And we did a magnetometer survey on one of the sites, yeah, that's the later Neolithic, so increasing density of settlement activities. And we did a magnetometer survey on one of these LBK sites. It produced an interesting result, showing that in the western part of this prospective area, in green, you can see these archaeological features. Of course, at the moment, the date is not known, but we did some small-scale excavation, and that turned up material of the Tanoptric Lausitz culture. So, unfortunately, not LBK, but bronze and date. And it produced also technical pottery, which we are going to deal on in a few seconds. That's the Bronze Age picture now, and now the settlement sites have increased again, and the spatial relationship is more or less evident, although the number of technical fragments which could be taken as evidence for salt production is rather limited. So there are a few fragments, and we encountered several more now, which are thick-walled, partially heavy-channeled, and the discussion is ongoing whether they can be called salt molds or whether they are crucibles for copper production, which is also recorded in this area. For comparison, some of the well-known Bigotage
vessels from Wales. So that's the Bronze Age. And then the Traverse culture, though the late Iron Age, just give me 3 minutes. In the late Iron Age and the early Roman period, the number of sites is especially rather low. But this is going to change a few centuries later, when in the early medieval period again, a densely populated and settled area appears. And there's also, right on the interflow of the Tiravka into the Sun River, these well-known stronghold Devil's Mountain, the number 1 on this map, which, as you can see from the photo, is in a commanding position at this Tiravka Sun interflow. So that's for the moment what we have done, and we try to continue to fill this gap of salt evidence between Wilhelmsburg and Model. Thank you for your attention.
You have to cross with way.
What?
You have to cross several.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I know.
Comments, maybe questions at the end of the session. So next we have anyone quick question? Change of
Well, just, of course. It's not a question, maybe a suggestion. You know, what you try to do, you try to suggest a model of settlement, the dependence between settlement and so. Well, I know that many people did it. And if you don't include in this system other resources,
Copper.
like not only water, fertile soil, landscape, and so on, it can be an illusion that the only thing which interested people was salt, which is a compromise every time, you know.
I agree.
Yeah, yes. Okay. Because it is very important to be close to salt, but it's much more important to be close to fresh water, to fertile soil, and so on.
Okay, let's move on. And so the next,
For example,
is like George Mitsua,
now,
Constantine Tisa, and Cyprian Nicola, and unique containing artifacts related to salt crystallization.
They are not here.
They're not here. Okay, the
These
next one then.
These are the next one. You will jump to Roxana.
Sana Tenu.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't have pronunciation.
Montagne.
And we're speaking about a calculating site in southwest region.
This is like names. It's not Spanish.
Basically the one. Basically the one.
So, what I will present, it's very, very short. It's more in progress, and it's part of a larger project regarding the short-tempered pottery in Eastern Romania during the Calculating. I have to say that when I submitted the title and the abstract to this presentation, I hoped to be in a further point of my study, which unfortunately I'm not. So I have now only a small amount of data regarding this salt, which for the Romanian archaeology, it's let's say rather important, because it's cited in several cases when the topic regards the Chalcolithic and the Bronze Age of the area. So it's a site excavated during a long period of time in the last century, and it's situated, as the title says, in a rich salt, in a area rich in salt resources. So I put here, I put it in my presentation, only several information regarding the site, because I wanted to, I asked myself if this site, and of course not just myself, it's a question several times put it in written, that the site is connected with salt resources or not. First of all, the position of this Chalcolithic and Bronze Age site, it's somewhere in a Hereford region, but on the contact with the zone with the plain. And most important for this topic, it's the position within this map on a hill, naturally fortified, with a good visibility in the area. It's the area. It's known for the salt resources, and from the beginning of from the 19th century, it's a known halotherapy site, and of course the salt sources in the area could be related with archaeological discoveries, or may not be could not be related. We don't know exactly where the prehistoric source could may have been regarding the distance from the archaeological point. Nowadays, it's situated several hundred meters away from the site. So, for assessing the discoveries from Serata Monteorum, I took into account the information available, which is very scarce. First of all, as everybody in Romanian archaeology knows, there are several Bronze Age layers important for the Bronze Age chronology and for the Bronze Age generally, and maybe one or maybe more Chalcolithic layers, because we have only scarce amount of data from the archaeological field reports in the 50s, which says that there are some dwellings, and there is an inventory composed of pottery, tools, and so on. I tried to reach the archaeological inventory and the material, and also the documentation of the excavations, which took place between 1926 and 2009. And so far, I managed to see part of the ceramic inventory and part of the written report, but no drawings and no information about the complexes. I hoped to see from the reports if this is let's say regular settlement for this period for Chalcolithic, or it's a site connected with a salt exploitation, as the salts from as the sites from, I don't know, Luca, Cuietzi, Cacica, and so on, which are northern in the same cultural environment. And as I said, the information is scarce. I did not find so far data about the distribution of the inventory on this site, but there is a larger, a rather large ceramic inventory with which is almost entirely fragmented. Less than 20 vessels were restored or kept entire so far. But most important, it's the mix between different cultural elements in this ceramic inventory. As it's not a new element, everybody already knew that. But I wanted to see the amount of this of each type of pottery in this inventory, and it consists on fine pottery, painted fine pottery, on which is Cucuteni B, right? On coarser pottery, which is Cerna-Voda, different cultural element, and part of this inventory is shell temper and drop temper coarse pottery. So far, from the part of the material that I've seen, which is something between 1/3 and half of the entire ceramic inventory, the main part it's fine painted pottery. It's as you can see, almost half of the material is fine painted pottery. But what is more important is that 13% of this amount of pottery, it's shell tempered and core decorated pottery, which is Cucuteni C and Cerna-Voda type. A type of pottery which in other parts, in northern parts of Cucuteni, it's related with salt exploitation. But here I verified the types of the shapes of the vessels and the types of pottery, and the inventory so far does not have anything particular to be related with this type of activity with salt exploitation. It's an inventory which is very common to all ordinary, let's say ordinary settlement. What was more important or more interesting for me was that within this inventory from Țărata-Mântouru, there is also calculated older material, another site which was situated somewhere near Cetățuia on the river bank of Țărata. It's a site from early Chalcolithic. I don't know exactly where exactly it's located in the red dotted area that you can see, but the fact that you have in the same small region area two sites from different periods and different cultural traditions could mean something related with the resources, I guess, but it's not exactly an element related with the salt. And here on this slide, last slide, you have a map with where the red dots represents the sites with the same mixture of pottery as Țărata-Mântouru, and they are all situated, as you can see, around no, it's not close to the mountain because the mountains are much farther. But it's the contact point between the plain and the subpopulations. It's the issues are here, massive. It's around this point that we have the same mixture of pottery, Cernavodă and Putești, and in front of this specific type of mixture, we have sites with which are clearly just Cernavodă. That's the yellow dots. It's quite south for Putești to be, and it's a mixture which is specific exactly to this small region. That's all.
Okay. George. Is he going to be next? Person. All right. Okay, so the next speaker, I'll back.
Questions?
You want questions? Or you want to put questions first? Yes. Okay.
Would you be so kind to ask a question? How far from this area the rock salt deposits are situated, and at what and which depth?
The salt rock.
Rock salt deposits, and at which depth?
I don't know for Sărat Mântoiu, but they are outcrops at
Yes.
Soca, Lopătari, and so on, which is how far? 80 kilometers.
Yes. Yes.
Extremely accessible.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. For our next speaker then. So another recover the bronze age salt production technologies and investigated
Well. Ștefan, vă rog să stați în zona aceasta aici, undeva, ca să vă
Da, eu vin acolo, eu
vă
facem
Ok.
Știu că vreți să mă registrați, să rămână pentru viitorină.
Ai să și din articol.
Da, știu, aici nu prea. Atât? Okay. Well, the best occasion to discuss about Bronze Age technologies of salt production offers this site, Bailey Figa in northeastern Transylvania. In a destroyed part of our excavation, here, during the construction of the local spa, we tried to save the very bad situation here. And hope it is visible that in this spot there is a pit. In the infill of this pit, we found only early Bronze Age pottery. And under this feature, we found a part of this pit which was dug in rock salt. And this pit was full of this pottery. Bez știș un textil muster ceramic. Plenty of pottery. Textile imprints as well. This kind of pottery in Transylvania usually is considered as belonging to what we call Iernut Zoltan culture. In absolute dates, it means between 2300 2000 plus minus. According to Romanian chronology, we call it the end of early Bronze Age. This is a map with such pottery in Transylvania. This is Bailey Figa, the northern place. This is Zoltan, the southeastern place. And the rest of sites are mainly in this area. In other words, all of known sites of this cultural group are situated in salt-rich places. Maybe the same or very similar group is spread in northern Albania. There's the same in very salt-rich area with identical pottery. It is far from me to say that these guys were saltmen and they controlled everything, but it is statistics. Absolute statistics. Every site which we know with this pottery in early Bronze Age is situated very close to salt-rich areas or to salt sources. The situation in Bailey Figa regarding this period of history of this site is very bad because the site is, this part of the site is destroyed. The only more or less closed feature was this pit dug in the rock salt. It is very shallow, less than 40 centimeters. Of course, it was not for extracting salt. It is too shallow for that. Every time, this pit was full of brine. It is quite possible, I think, that the pit was dug for collecting brine in this place. Everywhere when you dug in rock salt, you will have a lot of very concentrated brine. Not a big deal. Two elements. In Bailey Figa, we have a pit dug seemingly in this period. We have a timber piece which was dated a little bit earlier than traditionally we date pottery of this style, but the only piece, who knows, maybe it was fossil or more heavy piece or something like that. And the second, this geography of the sites. What seems certain is that during early Bronze Age, in this site, in this part of the site which we managed to save, people didn't produce too much salt. They just dug a pit for collect salt water. Very interesting that all these sites, Gerlud Zoltan group, show predominantly rusticated pottery. Everywhere, from China up to Germany, up to Britain, we have a lot of rusticated pottery in brine production sites. So, of course, my preliminary, not conclusion, suggestion is that during this period in northeastern Transylvania, these people practiced what we call domestic type of salt production. Without high technology, without complex organization and so on. Very simple, living in the place and taking a small amount of salt. What happens further? For that I need the previous PowerPoint, and we will go to late Bronze Age. We share a few words about troughs. Just a few necessary data. This kind of installation, wooden trough, are spread from Maramuresh. Maramuresh is southwestern part of Transcarpathian Ukraine, on the border with Romania, and Transylvania is the part of within Carpathian Basin. So it is the same territory. So this kind of installation, troughs, are spread from northern Maramuresh up to central Transylvania. In other words, northern half of Transylvania and Maramuresh. Chronologically, the earliest trough, radiocarbon dated, calibrated, is 1630. The latest, 900 BC. Culturally speaking, in this period, in Transylvania and Maramuresh, there are several periods with very different cultures. So, salt production technology in this area had nothing to do with cultures. Everything was changed. Types of the settlements, types of the pottery, dwellings, everything. This kind of technology was the same troughs. But not only troughs, but also all assemblage of tools and installations which associate this kind of installations. It means wooden shovels, stone these are sites of this type. Stone mining tools, ladders. Good. Good. Um, Oh. It is the wooden pieces found not far from Cluj, if you know Transylvania, the capital of Transylvania. All these pieces, wooden pieces, were found in a vertical salt mine. You see a trough with both ends closed. You see shovels. The piece from Solotvina. Nobody of us saw it, but in local paper was published at the end of 19th century. This drawing with this piece of this block of salt with these holes together. The other place, not far from Solotvino, Kirai Vod or Valeregilor. Today these pieces are in Chopin Museum of Geology in Hungary. Harding republished them. All of them date between 1400 800 BC. And we see the ladder, which is similar with that from figure. We see this trough with one end open. We see other wooden tools and this block of salt with holes. Sorry. It's enough. Too many troughs. In other words, around Bailey Figa, this site, the only site which was systematically dug in the last 10 years by Harding, me, and our colleagues. There are, at a distance of 6 and 10 kilometers, 2 similar sites. One of them, Sasaran, is 4 times larger, and virgin one, with plenty of wood, with troughs on the surface and so on. So, and everything happens in a very restricted area, in the valley of the important navigable river, Somesh Umare, which was one of the main tributaries of Somesh. And Somesh, if you know, is the main tributary of Danube, which connects the north of Carpathian Basin with Danube and Balkans. In this condition, when we see so many installations, so many structures, it is difficult to admit that these guys produced salt for their own consumption. It was a massive production in scale, industrial in scale production. What about technology? There are many possibilities. What we think today, and of course there are many other possibilities, that these installations, troughs which were used in chain, they were used to produce simultaneously hundreds of holes in rock salt, and after that to insert pegs in this rock salt and to split rock salt to get big pieces of salt. It is a possibility. We checked it by experiments. It works very well. But of course, experiment does not represent proof. There are many other possibilities. Anyway, the amount of tools, amount of installations, amount of structures is very impressive. It strongly, highly suggests the industrial in scale, and I would say not only in scale, but even technologically and as concerns the organization. And to this I want to add the only thing, just in a few words. The GIS study, which was published in our book, was not very good. We began to do it with new tools, with new systems, and we see that in every key point of this area, there are important fortified settlements. One of them was a kind of port, and what doesn't happen in this area, we have not reached settlements like in Hallstatt, we have not reached cemeteries and so on. We have just a very strong, very well controlled situation which highly suggests that the masters of this business lived far from the area. Thank you. Sorry for my chaotic presentation. I wanted to tell you too much.
Well, you have time, because out of the 6 sessions,
yes,
6 presentations for the session 3, we have 3 turned up. So we have plenty of time if anyone has any questions or need any of our speakers this afternoon.
May I ask you about industrial production in the site of Dia? What is your estimation about global production per day, monthly, or maybe per season? What do you mean with industrial, pre-industrial production?
Well, what I say, I understand. Well, first, when I say industrial in scale, I mean that they produce much more than they need for their own consumption. They need for trade, for exchange, for other territories. But I think that it was a kind of high tech, because we tried this system. It works very well. Simultaneously, using this chain of trust, two guys can produce at least a ton of rock salt. Very simple. In a day, 2 guys. You 2 guys can produce with these tools a ton of salt. More than that, the site is crossed by a stream which is an attribute, which is a tributary of Somesh. Somebody would say me, well, it is a very small stream, they couldn't use it for transport. But maybe you don't know. If you don't know, fine for me. In Romania, we have in ethnography this kind of transport. We call it haita. We build fences in the small rivers. We wait, the water will be high. We use them for several minutes. That water will transport barks or other woods. In a few minutes, it is enough water. It is a very well-known system in rafting in Transylvania. And there are 4 kilometers for from this site to Somish, and exactly in the place, in the joining point between this stream, which crosses Bay Figa and Somish, there is placed exactly in that place a fortified settlement, I say fortified port probably, which is a key point. It is the best point to control this junction. Of course, I didn't ask Bronze Age people what they think about that, but everything looks like that. And if, generally speaking, the area is very poor in settlements, in common settlements, very poor. These Wittenberg settlements, Lepuș settlements, which are quite different as compared with Lepuș in Maramureș. Very peripheral zone. Somish, it is a border between the area where culture works and people from Transylvania. Everything is very vague, nothing clear, and no prosperity. That is why I think that the guys who controlled all these things were not locals.
Another question, sorry. You have utilized many time in this presentation the word control.
Yes.
But I remember that in the book of your collaborator, Anthony Harding,
Yeah.
he mentioned that about the word control for Transylvania. He said it's too much salt. Everywhere is salt. Don't need control. It's too much salt. You understand?
Yes. Yes.
Why control?
Well,
It is too much.
Well. You suggest me to contradict Anthony Harding. Okay, no problem. No problem. Well, Anthony Harding is very grounded and very prudent scholar. He avoids theories and so on. He wants, first of all, to see very good, very solid evidence, not like me. Well,
Not like me.
yes, okay. Well, about the control on salt resources, which is it depends in which place of Transylvania are you. For example, Bailey Figa is situated on the northern border of the salt-rich area of Transylvania. North to Somish, it is a saltless area. It is a place in the key point of Somish. If you go 20 kilometers down on Somish, after 25 kilometers, you enter in the saltless area. Every time, as I can understand Bronze Age in Transylvania, the most prominent things, fortified settlements, important hordes, they usually are on the borders of Transylvania, not within Transylvania. It is the same with briquetage in Neolithic. We have not any piece of briquetage in Transylvania. All of them in our area, in Carpathian area, come from Malopolska up to middle west Moldova. Because it is on the border of salt-rich area. After that is to Siret, the saltless area. It was much more profitable to have production close to the salt pool areas. You know, I wouldn't be very careful about control in the middle of my ownership, but of the limits I have to be very careful.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Everyone will take a second.
Asta era mapa, Alexandru? Asta era?
Așa e adorăție.
Păi și de următor
E acolo. E, acolo nu mai fac eu dacă e. Stai că și ea acolo se arată. Nu mai am.
Sper să avem hârtia și maxim nu arată.
Despre care s-a menționat, a menționat niște chestii de arătare, am făcut niște chestionare specializate pentru exploatarea specializată în asta și este să vezi
But with audience, big audience.
A ieșit la pensie și a făcut o fel de emisie de suprafață, așa, mai multe lucruri, așa. Și avea acasă pentru zărobită sarea, ca să o poată da la țigani, care țigani au duceau. Eu, din punct de vedere etnocratic, să zic că, uite, mie din cealaltă. În specialitate, care a făcut ăștia care sunt cioban și care se duce la modul cel mai autentic. Unul din astea simple, ei scură acolo și unde se meargă. Și pentru că e greu de sare, de exemplu, nu știu de sare la față și bătut de ploi și atunci e mai mare. Se duc acum și și dacă vrei, eu o să te văd chestionarul de 5 pagini pe care l-am făcut pentru muncă. Și nu mai să faci asta și așa mai faci un material, nu mai se nicăiere nouă. Numai aici mai există așa ceva. Okay, running bit.
Pe unde ați stat? Da, eu cred că sunt
Măi, Sasha, nu te spieți. Nici mă te venim de aici. Dar eu de ce nu le Băi, când prezinți?
mâine.
Mâine. La ce oră?
La 10 și la 3.
2?
Una cu Dan.
Dan vine?
Yes, you know this problem. You know what we did. But we have full of driver. And after 8 p.m., he will be in Romania. So, yes, but as I understand, he don't speak English. We don't speak Romanian, so it's a problem. Yeah. Because for us, just one priest at 6, yes, not before, because we have tickets at, yes, 12:40 from Chisinau, so we have no chance. This one. All kids. Photo, yes. From Chisinau.
Eu vreau să spun că nu știu ce așa, sunt mai să nu sunt aveți. Doar să trebuie să vii ca să strângem. Da. Nici nu știu mai asta. Bun. Bine, pa.
Okay, so tomorrow. O să prezinte mâine în inimioară, trebuie să... Nu știu, dar el a publicat pentru că a scris mai mult despre tabără experimentală cu tot.
Dacă poate și pe internet ceva făcut în site-ul său, dar nu am găsit.
Oricum, revistele sunt...
Am fost pe Ioan Romă.
Da? Da, a fost. El mi-a spus de experimentul ăsta și care a reușit, mi-a spus înainte să vin. Atunci nu am avut să merg, este foarte scurt și s-au oprit primele...
Nu pot să-l pun. Trebuie să dau o chimie. Dacă nu poți să faci mai departe, nu poți să faci mai departe.
Deci, știe de rezultate, știe experimente, cum am povestit despre ele.
Ce ați făcut voi? Astea sunt...
Nu, nu ne mai ieșit așa.
E ce finalul? Asta e cu Cuza? Da, e... Că mi-a fost să zic, dacă cum n-am vrea să facem.
Deși pare, poate să pare francez, așa.
Asta doar mai nu s-a putut. Să fie acasă, sau pasă de sarcină, care este în mediu. Voi mai au pus măsoarea asta și așa nu funcționează. Tot aceeași ce se va păstra, să se dea de educație. Ce se va face? Ultima soluție care am încercat a fost să fac un stat. Sare, pentru că lasă. Am plecat din educație cu școală proprie. Și al doilea am pus în folie de mare, de 200
Hai că am vorbit acum să-ți facă propagandă de copiii mei, fac poze și facă pe Facebook. Au voie, nu? Permisiunea ta, că tu ești autorul principal. Da, și facă și trimiterea unde a fost publicat. Da. Hai, vino aici. Dar cu cine mai?
Sunt pe capitolul, sunt al Baior.
Da, da, nu trebuie să avem
Eu sunt
coautorul.
Adică ce înseamnă?
Atâția care se uită.
Ai mai te uiți? Păi nu te uita de data asta. Ai nu se poate.
Dar vin și tu.
Și eu sunt autor. Da, e. Și tu ești prima autor. Să facem din gură.
Invers.
Nu, nu așa. Nu așa, nu așa.
Avem de
Nu-i cu animații, nu? Din trei flori pe care am făcut pe Twitter, să deci, doar două. Și forul nu are ce căuta în normal.
Deci ar putea fi un
Și este și un pic solul la ridicat, solul tot.
deci e de răbun cu română și cu să direct cu concentrație.
Foarte, 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 foarte puțin. Dar în același timp și eu am avut istorie puțin pe el, chiar și pe asta am văzut, acum au fost folosite și acolo, să ai
Păi nu, că știi ce se întâmplă? N-am așa ți este o pentru că dacă ai găsit
schimbul între ale mele ar trebui să fie foarte mult, pentru că ea e ceva timp sau. Dar n-au fost de ce cauză.
că tu l-ai
Cauza
izolării.
deci mă gândeam. Bun, dacă te spala de aici, dar s-ar putea să fie și asta un motiv. Să ai găsit așa acolo, foarte puțin și în ale mele, tocmai din cauza asta cu izolator, s-a întâmplat foarte puțin. Și mașinile are acolo ce putea găsi, și vor să găsim cât de
Deci chiar cu criza asta.
găsim.
Deci, practic, șansa să găsești, sau șansa să poți să comprezi cu criza, nu știu, despre metoda asta este relativ.
Nu se găsește, în fapt, am publicat, am găsit pe două. Acum s-a făcut și s-a publicat sau în
Ok, la
așa. Au făcut tot la noi la Iași, cu Iași și cu domnul Sandra, au făcut tot pe niște bibliotaje, tot la fel și la capacitate, programare. Și de acolo, nu știu, câte mult au ieșit de la bibliotaje. Și le-a mai ieșit, pentru că la niște clasele noastre de generare,
deci, până la urmă, că se spunea, că nu există o ca să fizică, chimică, o care, ca altfel, poate că nu se există, a fost folosit.
Clorul este un marker.
Este marker. Este marker și îți cam iese când te puțin. Cam iese. Așa. O să prezinte...
De fapt, eu spuneți de analiză.
Eu ce reprezentează și pe am văzut de și ce făceam ăștia să explicăm că arată ca miniaturile.
Acum, în sesiunea asta, deci sunt cu Iași, v-ați văzut puțin băiatul. Toată lumea, afară de cine cel mai mult? Spui chiar o viață.
Thank you. Very nice.
Remember about us. About yes. It's support. That's why. Thank you for invitation.
Yes. Because it's like talking presentation about the program. If you have you have or through the internet or I will just send it. Yeah. Unfortunately, there is no salt. That doesn't mean that this works. Okay. Acum e ok? Acum e ok că am făcut poză. Se vede? Facem pe stream, știi? Roșu, record cu roșu. Și acum și eu văd, adică văd acum dacă mai
So, now, again, we move to the Bronze and the Iron Age. And the first communication is from Daniel Costaș, Lorenzo Grigoraș, in the Scovatori of
aveți acolo vă rog să stați undeva în zona scaunului acolo ca să vă vedeți, să vă auziți dacă apoi de
First of all, I want to thank you, Mr. Alexandru, and the organizing committee for invitation here and for opportunity presenting you some of my research. In that material, I will present you a proposal for spatial analysis in the area of sub-Carpathian curvature regarding Moldova culture.
Also,
use
the microphone, please.
Is necessary.
Yeah, because
That's better. Okay, thank you. One of the representative archaeological cultural material from southern Romania in connection with, of course, natural resources. For the first time, first discoveries was made by a German architect, Eduard Hunzig, in 1895 on a small hill at 25 kilometers west from Buzău city. My colleague, Roxana Munteanu, present you in detail some aspects from Sărata Moldova. Starting in 1917, with short interruptions. In that place, specialists from Germany and Romania had made excavations, year 2008 being the last, till now. In present, we know that the Monteoru communities occupy a large space in southern and central Moldavia, northeastern Wallachia, this space, and southeastern Transylvania. Also, we know that the Monteoru culture covers more than 1 millennium. Today, artifacts attributed to this culture are studied in more than 10 archaeological sites every year. Most of them in Buzău County. Our area of interest, in the same time, on which we have studied Monteoru phenomenon, is in the middle of subcarpathian curvature, delimited by two rivers, Buzău and Prahova. Here is the river, this area. Here we know more than 100 possible settlements, more exactly 113. We exclude from that map funeral discoveries, deposits, and accidental discoveries. In our analysis, we consider that the resources and access to resources was primary before the settlement space choose. In the center of reasons to choose a domestic space or settlement, it was probably the problem of resources. In the second plan, or in the same plan, was the need of protection. Also, like you can see in the graphic on the screen, the idea of control and access to resources can born a new problem. The settlement situated on crests and in dominant position. Protection or domination. In the second plan, most probably, other things was in connection with an aesthetic sense and also cultural needs. In our opinion, the resources have determined the economic space, and after that, we choose the domestic space. In that case, we define mobile resources like hunting found, fishery found, forest found, and stationary resources like are salt deposits, salty water, and amber deposits. Buzău County being one of the richest area in that part of Romania in salt deposits. In that way, we consider an occupational microregion like economic space to determine the domestic space. That graphic represents an utopic microregion. Considering that we have made a proposal regarding occupational microregions in the area of Subcarpathian Arch curvature, we take in consideration distribution of natural resources, the unity of landscape, the concentration of artifacts, the distribution of settlements situated in dominant position, and some characteristics identified in the economic behavior. So we have found more microregions. In that map, we present the distribution of natural resources used by people from Bronze Age. All those are represented by salt resources, sulfur spring, amber deposits, salty water, forests. Unfortunately, we don't have studies regarding the soil. Like you can see, the salt resources, salt mountains, and the salty waters are common present in all those regions. And here are a few characteristics for each microregion, and it's very important to see that the salt resources are common present for everyone. In that map, We made a cartographic distribution of settlements and checkpoints situated on crest and high hills with good visibility. It is a very interesting thing that, like you can see, with that exception, every microregion have I don't know if we can say they are settlements, like we understand from that term settlements, but are point like this with a very small surface around I don't know 500 square meters, which you don't have find yet buildings like houses, like dwellings, but just small layers with within I don't know anthropic deposits, and that distribution must, I don't know, probably represent a proof of control of that all those microregions. We must remark that archaeologists from Museum of Buzău County have made many surveillance in our annual scientific program, and until now we think we can establish a behavior marker. Large areas with no water and no other resources than forest wasn't populated by the people from Bronze Age. We think that it is not a coincidence that the areas with resources like salt and amber was highly populated. Also, like you could see first in presentation of each microregion, are some characteristics regarding areas of settlements, preferences for some relief forms, and some economic. Also, in our opinion, the map represents a need to dominate, not necessarily a need for protection. But dominate what? Most probably access to resources, and salt was one of the most important resources in the area. Also, if we accept that kind of organization, we must accept new questions which you must offer answers. What kind of relationships develop those communities from so-called occupational microregions? These human communities were engaged in a common economic system. If the answer is yes, then how? Identifying a rich economic space would determine the place for foundation settlement. So we hope not just we together find some answers. Unfortunately, I can tell you if in Buzău and in communication and presentation of Mr. Professor Cavruc, yeah, show some pictures from Mânzălești, from Lăpătari, from Bisoca. In Buzău we have a lot of areas with salty water and with salty mountains. So we hope if somebody help us to identify some interesting things. We have only one fortunate discovery in Lopătari, a gold axe shelf. That's all. Thank you.
A few words, maybe? Just. I remember that I visited once a very rich village, and I found that people didn't work there. The guy who bought all the lands organized every month hunting, and people paid a lot of money, and everybody was very, very happy. It is the same, happened probably some tragedies with the oil country. You say that your question is which was the economic background, yes? They didn't need economic background because they have two things. Salt on the surface, mountains of salt, and amber. If you have amber in Bronze Age, you don't need agriculture, you don't need anything. And the best example of this richness, of this power due to amber and salt probably is this cave of Nuh, with engraved swords and daggers from
More than
with,
150.
best analogies in Italy and even in Northern Africa.
Which is exposed to cold, so the armor is.
Yeah, the amber from colts and new researches made by amber pieces in Câmpina at the richest cemetery from Bronze Age.
Yes.
Show that the amber from Câmpina was from colts. Yeah, not
Yes.
from the Baltic Sea or other spaces.
More than that, in Transylvania, many pieces of amber come from your area, not from Baltic area.
Yeah, also in Buzău, the necropolis of Cârlămănești Arman.
Yeah.
The necropolis which until now they discovered more than 100 graves. With all the pieces from, all the amber pieces was from colts, not from Baltic Sea.
Okay, thanks a lot. So now the next presentation about urban.
My second presentation is about the Bronze Age, salt in the Bronze Age, an overview to the Subcarpathian Moldavia, of course, Eastern Romania. Short introduction, in Subcarpathian Moldavia, Eastern Romania, there are many saltwater springs, and some of them have been exploited in the prehistory, of course, in the Bronze Age. In this presentation, I will discuss about 4 important sites, and these sites are very well known by Romanian opponents, not all. It's about Luca Poiana Slatini, Floricel Budoia, Vârcina Slatina, Cuza 2-3 și Vieța Slatina Veche. 3 of them are in Neamț County, one of it's in Bacău County. You can see here a map with these sites. Some words about Lunca Poiana Slatini site. It's one of the most important sites. It is located in the proximity of the Rage Salt Spring on the eastern slopes of the Cuneabrăști Hill. This is Cuneabrăști Hill. In the northern part of the Subcarpathian area. The site of Luca has 3 distinctive areas. You can see here, this is the main area, second, the third. Each of them with its peculiarities depending on the cultural and archaeological criteria. For us, it's important, especially the A area, because it has complex stratigraphy. Here, 3 Bronze Age layers were identified. These layers contains especially pottery, charcoal, ash, and the remains of the herds often, but unfortunately without a well-defined structure. Here you can see a very recent image with people who used this salt springs. They used salt springs in a traditional manner. And here is a salt spring with a piece of wood who protect it. Another image, the stratigraphy of the main area, of the A area, is detailed. You can see different layers of burnt clay, charcoal, ash, and of course a lot of pottery. It's a complex stratigraphy during Neolithic to modern times. Because my presentation is about the Bronze Age. You can see here part of the Bronze Age pottery. Belongs to Middle Bronze Age, especially belong Komarov culture. As you can see, we have here only decorated pottery, but of course in these layers there are important numbers of courseware pottery. In this site, it is the late Bronze Age level. In this level, pottery and pottery was found, and groups of stones. These groups of stones were considered as ovens or pits. On the stones and around them, large marks of charcoal and ash was discovered, and near this ovens, it was identified a small pit with late Bronze Age pottery. And you can see here some fragments of late Bronze Age pottery. It's not a wonderful pottery. A general view of the Lunga Buenas Latini. Here is the salt spring, and here is another site, Oglinsk Cetățuia. It's a fortified site, fortified settlement, and this is demonstrated by the existence of the defense ditch or defense trench, which was dated in the Middle Bronze Age, belongs to the Komarov culture. From this location, the salt spring from Lunga Buenas Latini and a large area would be controlled. Here we have two maps. In the right side, in the left side, you can see the connection between the salt spring at Lunga and the Middle Bronze Age settlements. Here is the salt spring, and these are Komarov settlements. And in the right side, you can see a sketch of the connection between salt spring and late Bronze Age settlements in the northern part of the Subcarpathian area. Red squares represent salt springs, and blue points represent late Bronze Age settlements. Of course, some of this salted water was exploited, but not all. Another important site, București Latina Veche. This site was discovered in 2002, and it was investigated in 2003-2004 by an archaeological team from the History and Archaeology Museum of Gheanerans. The salt spring is located in Bacău County, in the Tazlău Depression, in an area surrounded by high hills. Here is the salt spring, another image with salt spring, and here you can see the archaeological deposits. The main archaeological deposits, as I said, are situated near the salt spring and consist of two oval-shaped small mounds. In archaeological campaigns, 4 surfaces has been excavated, and according to the archaeological findings, this area has been inhabited during the Neolithic to late Iron Age. Here you can see some pottery fragments. Most of the pottery has close analogies in the Middle Bronze Age layers from Lunga. Pottery belongs to Komarov culture, and a few fragments can be attributed to the Wittenberg culture from Transylvania and Monteoru culture from southern Moldavia. Another site, Țoriciul Bădoaia. The site was discovered in 2005 by Mr. Deler, and it was investigated in 2007-2008 2010 by a Romanian-French team. The site is located at the joint place between the valley of the Moldova River and the Neamț Depression. This is a part of Neamț Depression, and here is Moldova River. All across the perimeter of the village, of the Zolic village, there are known several salted water springs, but the most important of them is situated within a relatively deep and narrow valley. Here you can see the location of the salt spring and the site. And here is this, the village. Within the close vicinity of the salted water spring, there is a consistent archaeological deposit bearing the shape of a void mound without a maximum diameter of 40 meters long. You can see here the salt spring and the site. Between of them, there is a small stream, and here is a detail with complex stratigraphy during Neolithic to early Bronze Age. In the site, there has not been identified an archaeological level belonging to the Bronze Age period, but material from this period were discovered to the upper part of the Neolithic levels, of the Cuza level. There have been discovered only fragments of pottery, work of a coarse paste, though well burned. The main ceramic shapes are those of vessels with a rounded body and bowls. Usually there are open shapes which could be used to boil the salted water. The closest settlement belongs to the early Bronze Age period. It's situated at 6 kilometers toward the north at Pești. The reason for us to consider that the community from this settlement was the community who exploited the saltwater stream from Zolic. You can see here some pottery, and the last site, Vecina Slatina Kozla, another site which was discovered by Mr. Veler, and it was research by a small trench to obtain segments of stratigraphy. The salt spring is near Getman's. The salt spring, the small trench, some pottery. Same at Zolic, within the site from Vecina, the archaeological remains attributed to the Bronze Age period do not form the distinct archaeological level. We refer to ceramic materials situated at the upper part of the Neolithic levels, which prove that in the zone, this zone, there was a rather short period of fragments. There were discovered only fragments from medium-sized vessel, generally of open shapes, which were used to keep and boil the salted water. On the right side, you can see a map with saltwater spring of Vecina and some early Bronze Age settlements. And finally, some conclusion. In the Subcarpathian area of Moldavia, even though there are no many salted water springs, in only 4 cases for location there have been discovered archaeological remains attributed to the Bronze Age period. Compared to the Neo-Neolithic, the archaeological deposits belong to the Bronze Age period are not so consistent, except for those from Lunca. For the early Bronze Age period, there was not observed a very intense frequency of these springs, due probably also the economy of these communities as well as the scarcity of the settlements. For the springs from Lunca and Bucuieț, there are mentioned archaeological materials characteristic for other partial areas, which means that this salt production, that this salt exploitation had a supraregional importance. We cannot omit the fact that some of the nearby communities were also exploiting and exercising their control over these salted water springs. Only within the settlement from Lunga there have been discovered herds belonging to the late Bronze Age period. In none of the sites there have been discovered ceramic shades used, especially used to obtain crystallized salt. Even if in the Subcarpathian zone of Moldavia there are numerous salted water springs, and in only 4 cases there have been discovered traces of exploitation belonging to the Bronze Age, we consider that other such types of resources have been known by the communities of this period. It is possible in many situations that these settlements were very close to the salted water springs, and those communities were using the salted water directly without considering to obtain the crystallized salt. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. We are a little bit late, so, well, one question.
I need to understand your map with connection between spring and the settlement of water. Can you say something about that? What is the first? Yes. Right.
This map,
Yes. What is it?
the relationship between the late Bronze Age settlements and the saltwater spring. As I told you, this square represents saltwater springs, and black points represent late Bronze Age settlements. Of course, not all of these settlements are contemporary, but there are two closely from these saltwater springs.
Congratulations, please. I have made ethnological research in this area, and I have built a model for salt water supply. And the maximum diameter of supplying settlement with salt water, even now, is 30 kilometers. But normally is only 50 kilometers. I don't know if you applied conscientiously this my model, but this is real, because even now
you have here a scale of the distance between sites and the salt springs. Yeah.
Acolo câți kilometri sunt raza cercului cam cât e aici?
5 kilometers.
Sure. Sure. Yes. If in this century people use salt springs and brine from salt springs, I am almost sure that in history, even in Neolithic, etc., and Bronze Age, they utilize.
Okay, so we stay in the same area. In the next paper from Nikolai Bolofan, Minister General, și Alexandru.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Okay.
Unfortunately, the principal author of this communication is missing, and I want to present a few aspects of our investigation, of our research. We already posted more information, detailed information on a poster there. You can saw it. And start. Our main objective in this research, in this communication effect, is to capitalize, to valorize a surface archaeological research in order to understand how a late Bronze Age community used its natural resources, of course including salt resource. In fact, it is about the relationships between human activities and including herding, animal husbandry, and salt exploitation in the late Bronze Age community of Koshman in Neamț County. I refer now to study area, to methodology, and to preliminary results. Concerning the study areas, this area is situated in the Krakow-Bistrița depression in Moldavian Subcarpathians, eastern Romania. This area was intensively inhabited during the Neolithic, Chalcolithic, Middle and Late Bronze Age. Liquid salt sources are very well represented, and these sources were exploited through the past until our days. The next, please. Concerning the methodology, the approach of this subject is multidisciplinary, including mainly methodological, archaeological, and archaeological investigations. Surface research made this year in May-June conducted to identify 6 new late Bronze Age settlements, all of them with ash pits or named zoniki that are specific to this period, exactly Noah culture. In this communication, we refer to 4 as pits from the site Koshman Cărbuneri, situated in the very proximity of the liquid salt source from Lake Iași. There is a possible arrangement in 2 rounds of these 4 ash pits according to the water source. Archaeological records include pottery, a high amount of fragments of pottery, faunal remains, artifacts and fragments of stones, and adobe fragments. Concerning the typology of pottery, there are many storage vessels for depositing and transporting liquid and stranded balls that could suggest the primary processing of dairy products. Archaeological analysis indicated that the community was focused on cattle herdings. In our sample, we have identified a high amount of cattle remains, about 73%. A little pig, sheep, goat, also a little amount of horse. No hunting. There is only 1 fragment of red deer antler processed that was collected, not belonging from a hunting animal. So no hunting, only animal breeding. We have identified also a number of 9 processed animal bones. Most of them are represented by cattle bones, especially scapulas. We can see serrated scapulas that are specific also to Noah culture. Next, please. As final consideration, we can delineate this settlement as having productive soils for plant cultivation and grassland for animal herding, especially cattle herding. Then proximity to water source, about 200 meters. And proximity to salt spring, about 2.5 kilometers, and the salt was probably used in many different ways, in alimentation for humans and for domestic animals, food preserving, of course, in tanning process, etc. Thank you for your attention.
There is one question. No? So, the next presentation from Alphonse and some colleagues from Iași and in English, español, en francés, en español. Dale. En catalán, ¿por qué no? ¿Qué pasa, Alfonso? Eso va a presentar en español, pero el trabajo está en inglés.
The last publication. Microphone.
Bien, ahora lo que vamos a hacer no es hablar de Cardona, sino que vamos a hablar de Hallstatt. A ver, la idea es, vamos a ver un poco la presentación de lo que es Hallstatt a nivel de neolítico. También hablaremos de lo que será, de lo que son las hachas de piedra, que vamos a ver que hay unas que las trazas de uso indican que han sido utilizadas en trabajos de madera, otras que son hachas de prestigio, también tenemos los utensilios mineros y por último hablaremos de estas trazas de uso que me han llevado pues, estas herramientas como unas herramientas que han trabajado sobre la sal y finalmente el estudio de la mecánica de estas hachas de Hallstatt. Después lo compararemos con las trazas de uso de carbono para llegar a las valoraciones. Bueno, como decía antes, Monsieur Weller, Halstead está en Austria. Es un pueblecito maravilloso donde encontramos lo que sería la mina, Halstead. Halstead es famoso precisamente a partir de lo que sería el calcolítico, sobre todo bronce y hierro, es el momento de máxima expansión, pero en Halstead se han encontrado hachas de piedra, que al igual que lo que pasa en Cardona, nos encontramos que en toda esta región ninguna de las herramientas analizadas procede de aquí, sino que viene de fuera. En el año 90 y 91, Thomas Stoner hizo dos intervenciones, justo que es el túnel de acceso, o sea, el túnel que hay a la entrada del pueblo. Sobre todo lo que es interesante la del año 91, que es donde encuentra restos de sílex, cerámica prehistórica y fragmentos de hacha. Son las investigaciones más recientes de las excavaciones, digamos, del Neolítico. Si cogemos como referencia la distribución de las hachas que hemos analizado, más las que ha encontrado o documentó Stoner, nos encontramos que las hachas de prestigio están en Salzburg, justo en la mina. Lo que hemos esta mañana presentado también el doctor Feller, que es el pico de asta de ciervo, también se ha encontrado en lo que sería la zona de la boca de la mina. Pero a partir de aquí vemos que hay una distribución de estas diferentes hachas sobre lo que sería la ladera que va desde la mina hasta el pueblo. Aquí vemos, Stoner habla de la presencia de lo que serían hachas del Neolítico medio. El resto son hachas de serpentina, fragmentos diversos, etc. Si lo hacemos por concentración, aquí hacemos una distribución en función de la densidad. Si tomamos como referencia el punto donde más hachas han encontrado, vemos que hay un radio de 2,2 de dispersión de estas hachas que están en la colección del Museo de Cuza. Si lo hacemos desde Salzburg, esto lo que sería la mina, la área, o sea, vemos que el radio se aumenta a 1,2 km, o sea, el área sube ya a 4,5 km cuadrados. La distribución de estas herramientas, por un lado nos encontramos que el 43% son hachas perforadas, o sea, martillos con perforación. Después nos encontramos con lo que serían las típicas hachas de piedra, las hachas de prestigio, 14%, y el resto, donde se han incluido los diferentes fragmentos, los hemos puesto en otro tipo de hachas. Lo que interesaba en este caso no era tanto la clasificación de las hachas, sino que lo que está interesando en este caso es ver qué utilidad tienen esas hachas. Y en este caso vemos que de las 3 hachas analizadas en Halstead, nos encontramos que el bisel es completamente, en este caso, un poco de sinusoidal, pero nos encontramos que tiene una arista bastante viva, pero cuando se analiza, en este caso, con el binocular, podemos observar que estas piezas están totalmente abombadas, pero no presentan los desconchados que hemos visto antes en las diferentes herramientas de carbón. Por el otro lado, en Hallstatt hay la presencia, en este caso, de esta pieza y de este fragmento de hachas de onfacitita que, analizado lo que sería su corte, resulta de que
Bueno, sigo.
Bien, entonces lo que nos encontramos aquí, o me encontré, es que en este caso el corte de esta ancha no presenta ningún tipo de uso. Simplemente tiene un golpe, es un golpe que se le puede atribuir de forma fortuita por el proceso en el cual se encontró y se pudo almacenar. También presentan elementos interesantes, que son estas pequeñas grietas que podrían estar relacionadas con el método de extracción de este tipo de material, que es la utilización también del fuego. Ahora vamos a ver lo que serían las herramientas mineras. Las herramientas mineras de Hallstatt, lo que decíamos antes, son picos que presentan orificios. Estos orificios no están centrados, están situados hacia el final de lo que sería la parte de la cabota. Y aquí sí que nos encontramos con grandes trazas de uso, y toda esta zona, esta, y además también nos encontramos que presentan una zona totalmente también que tiende a estar al redondo. Aquí tenemos una de las piezas. En este caso, esta pieza de aquí tiene una incisión interior, pero esta pieza es importante porque no solo tenemos aquí las grandes trazas de uso, sino que también vemos que ha tenido otra utilización, como si fuese un pilón. Es decir, es una pieza que ha sido utilizada por ambos lados, pero para dos trabajos diferentes. Por un trabajo, el de golpear y cortar la sal en este caso, y en el otro es de un pilón para transformar. Volvemos a ver en este caso pues, lo que serían las trazas de uso de estas hachas. Vemos que toda esta parte de aquí es un desconchado que ha saltado de la pieza. Vemos aquí estas grandes desconchados en el filo, todo lo contrario a las que hemos visto antes que han trabajado sobre madera. Sobre el estudio mecánico vemos que estas hachas están más o menos enmangadas sobre los 80, 90, tendencia de 80 a 90 grados. Lo que decíamos, no son perfectamente verticales, sino que están inclinadas, y además vemos que, analizando sobre todo esta parte de aquí y esta parte de aquí, es la primera que llega a pegar sobre la sal. Que es lo que ahora vamos a ver. Entre medio, tenemos aquí dos piezas que están rotas por el estrés de material, es decir, el uso repetido de estas piezas provoca, o bien por la cuestión de las microfracturas que se han producido por culpa de la repetición del trabajo de estas hachas, llega un momento que se rompe. Lo que decíamos antes, podemos determinar que esas hachas han estado utilizadas en este sentido. También hemos estado haciendo simulaciones para ver exactamente la fuerza que pueden ejercer, por eso hemos puesto aquí lo que sería el momento, el torque, también el arco que se mueve para poder trabajar y también en este caso la fuerza angular. De manera que a partir de aquí podemos seguir investigando y poder ir comparando unas con las otras. Comparación con Cardona, volvemos a lo mismo. Todas estas piezas presentan grandes desconchados, presentan grandes trazas de uso, comparables evidentemente con las que decíamos anteriormente. El pegar sobre una superficie muy dura provoca estas grandes fracturas. Por último, un poco de valoración. Primero hay dos hachas de trabajo en Halfter, las que trabajan los milling tools y las herramientas que trabajan sobre madera. Las herramientas que decíamos antes, totalmente de minería. Situaríamos este tipo de hachas del neolítico final. Estaríamos hablando del neolítico final hacia el calcolítico. La presencia de estas hachas también de prestigio es importante, es interesante, porque hay un elemento como es la sal, que es, siguiendo el modelo que hemos estado estudiando en Cardona, atrae elementos de prestigio, elementos exóticos. Y por último, pues se tiene que seguir trabajando, porque simplemente el trabajo, la investigación de las piezas que estaban en el Museo de Hallstatt, y supuestamente habrá muchísimas más.
Muchas gracias, Alfonso. Thanks a lot. And if there's only one question, maybe from Ioan, hello. La colección de las hachas están en el Museo de Hallstatt, no en Viena.
3 en Viena y el resto está en Hallstatt. O sea, 12 en el museo y 3 en Viena.
¿Tenemos informaciones sobre el contexto de su descubrimiento?
No, son 1840, 1860. Un texto muy variado.
It is a tradition about this kind of approaches in archaeology. Es una tradición de estudiar pues,
las hachas.
Con esa manera.
Un poco ha sido la solución a un problema que teníamos planteado en Cardona. Para resolver el problema se ha buscado los mecanismos para poder trabajar.
It is a pioneering work. We can see that. We can try. Is it un trabajo de pionero? No.
No, traseología ahí.
Mais pas appliqué pour les siècles. Well, first, we move to the last communication of this day, with mapping east, and we move to southwest Germany. And you speak French or German?
I speak English.
But French, well, merci beaucoup.
Okay, so I will go microphone.
So we go a bit farther into Central Europe.
salt in southwestern Germany in the end of the Iron Age. This means essentially Latin culture, the last 5 centuries BC. And it's something done on and off for the last 50 years. So we are working here, southwestern Germany, so quite a distance. So in this part of Germany, the state of Baden-Württemberg, around town of Stuttgart, which is maybe known. My working area is the Heilbronn basin of the Neckar River, which is a tributary of the Rhine. And we're talking about an area of about 40 by 50 kilometers. In southwestern Germany, there's an underground salt layer in about 110 meters depth. And due to local specialties in geology, the red marked zones are the areas where salt water can come to the surface, and in most of those areas it is coming to the surface. It's essentially a combination of river valleys and geological fault zones. The best known salt making site, and the only one which until now has given prehistoric traces, is in the town of Schwäbisch Hall, the Kochen River. So it's situated directly here underneath the medieval town, in 6 meters under the surface. The excavation was in 1940, and there's only a small documentation. We do not have any new excavations of this site. So this is a well-known photo which I've already republished several times. Salt well, dating from the 5th century BC, with some wooden troughs, which remind me sometimes of Pennsylvania, but which have differences. There are no holes. There are wooden conducts, wooden troughs, and wooden covers. In our opinion, they have served for exfoliation of the salt soil to make concentrated brine. But I will not go into the details because I've already published this in the Slovakia conference proceedings. So this is a small part of 30,000 Punitage fragments from the Schwäbisch Hall site. We've made some reconstructions. We put at them 10 years ago, we identified 2 different types of heritage Punitage and this kind of salt furnace. And we have also proceeded to do some experimentations, which I don't have the time to talk about, but someone is interested, there's a publication about it, and there are also YouTube films. So this is just one of our essays done in 2011 at the Hochhof Museum. Coming to the actual work, in the last years, we examined a lot of Punitage fragments from about 200 sites, which is the only production site at Schwäbisch Hall, and about 200 consumer sites around. We now can identify not only 2, but 5 different types of Punitage vessels, dating from the end of the Hallstatt, beginning of the Latin area, early Latin, middle and late Latin, and final Latin, ending in the 1st century BC. The reconstructed salt blocks and the approximate volume of such a salt block. We entered all sites into a geographical information system, which gives, for the southwestern part of Germany, a rather dense distribution of Punitage sites in Neckar Valley. So this map shows all types of the whole Latin period, 500 years
all in one picture. And to get the details, we'll just see the different types. This is the earliest type, which looks very much like Polygons from High Anthropology, late Bronze Age and beginning of the Iron Age. And there's a university work at High Anthropology, Mrs. Chikos, who will do a master about comparison of those two sites. The partition is rather restricted to the salt winning site at Schwäbisch Hall and the small area in the Neckar River, essentially. The following period presents a very different picture. So here we are in the beginning of the Latine period, 5th and 4th century BC, and we have about 150 sites densely clustered around the central Neckar Valley, from the salt winning site here to a rather dense inhabited area in the Neckar River. You can see another concentration here in an area where possibly salt well was used at this period, but we cannot prove it. Which is we have a salt well and we have traces of settlements around, but no trace of salt winning at the moment. And a similar situation here. This is middle to late Latine. We're in the 3rd to 2nd century BC. And we have here rather coarse and thick-walled vessel. So a very strange kind of rim, which has technical reasons, probably to avoid the salt water from boiling over. And the distribution map shows similar concentration. The only known salt winning site, and another possible one here and here. And finally, a type just identified in the 99, it's not known before, and until now only known from enclosed settlements supposed to be aristocratic sites, but we find them now also in northern settlements. And a distribution in this case, we have something in the middle Neckar Valley, but it goes much far to the south, even into Bavaria. And the most striking thing is we have not a single pot of this type at the salt winning site of Schwäbisch Hall. So this means there must be a salt winning site, probably somewhere here, which produced with this kind of cleavage, but we do not yet know it. This is final Latine, Schwäbisch Hall, and two other known salt winning sites of southern Germany. And there's something like an exclusive distribution zone. The Schwäbisch Hall forms here, Bad Nauheim forms here, and Bad Dürkheim has no distribution at the moment. Some deliberations about salt trade, what may be exchanged for salt. My colleague intervened last year. He found a place where millstones were produced in that period in the Odenwald Mountains, and when the geologists comparing them with the millstones found in settlements, we found that the distribution clusters along the Neckar River Valley, it just reaches the Jura Mountains. So this is a possibility that maybe millstones going upriver and salt going downriver. And a similar thing with the iron ore sites. We have iron ore here and here, both areas connected by small river courses to the possible salt winning sites. The known salt winning site is Schwäbisch Hall along the Kocher River, and the possible salt winning sites are along the Enz. If you compare the distribution of Brigittage and the known big settlements, Opida and big open settlements of the period, there's nearly an exclusion. So Brigittage is here, the big sites are here. There's not a single fragment of Brigittage along the Rhine Valley, and there's nothing around Lake Constance. Only 2 of the big settlements do show Brigittage runs. And one of the reasons seems to be traversing the Jura Mountains. This is a profile of the Jura Mountains. And you see the big cliffs here, rising between 200 and 300 meters. And there are only very few places where you can go up from the Neckar Valley, where the salt was made, and cross the Jura Mountains to the settlement sites on the south. Another colleague, Jan Stegmeier, has just published studies showing the distribution of contemporary small settlement sites along the Fils River, which is one of the 2 possible access points to traverse the Jura Mountains. This one passes at the side of this big site at the Heidengraben, but it arrives at the upper Danube, just like the other possible traverse along the this basin here, and both arrive upriver from the big town of Manching. And the town of Manching, usually considered to be part of the Alpine salt distribution zone, has now shown Brigittage shirts coming from the Schwäbisch Hall area. So there must be people traversing the Jura on one of those possible ways to supply at least part of the needs of this big settlement. What is interesting, there is another traverse here to the Rhine Valley, and it is known from the early Iron Age, but it has never been used to transport salt. We do not know if and how the Rhine River valleys, those big settlements, got any salt. Just to mention that there seems to be a little sanctuary beside the salt well, but we are not allowed to explore it because it's a nature reserve. And a preview of what we're doing now, what we started with a new research project this spring. We're centered on the Heilbronn Basin with probable salt wells in this area, but we are centered on 2 enclosed aristocratic sites here, which have shown 2 enclosed sites showing balances and coins, so seem to be connected with trade and with the import of luxury goods, millstones from the Odenwald, broken amphora, glass. Never mind. So the next 2.5 years, we will be concentrating on those 2 settlement sites and possible connections to the salt wells in the area to find out if there is a connection, if these sites may be used as a distribution site, trade center, or maybe because we have a lot of Brigittage fragments from the site, and we also have a lot of cow bones. So one of our theories, which has to be checked by an osteoarchaeologist, will be if this site may have been used for the production of meat, conservation of meat using salt. But that's something that we will talk about in 2 or 3 years from now. Thank you.
There is some question online. Maybe it's too late. Maybe you want to eat something. Maybe you want to go to a restaurant. Very important. There is one general question about this small session. No? So you are very, you have to go to the restaurant.
it's time I see for the dialogue. Okay, thanks a lot.
È stato loro che ha messo a finire automacinnie, voi
Lăsăm aici. Lăsăm.
Fie mai aici, fie fie de acolo. Avem voie să fie aici.
Ești pe jos?
Da, da, da.
Sunt bun, va fi și la Oscar, nu?
Da, la Oscar. Mongolezul, la istorie. Mongolezul, nu știu unde e. Da.
O să-mi iau laptopul, cum îl iau?
Preparați să se grup.
Nu, lăsăm așa. Nu mai facem. Strângem mâine. Da? Păi am zis. Am zis, sunt 10 minute aici afară. Ai grijă, Marius. Se închide? Nu. Să nu te cam. Am plecat la plimbare, i-am dat adresa și pe intră în cauză. Stai tu. Măi. Are. Are.
O să las o preparați chiar și noi.
Așa, așa. Să închidem geamurile.